Ryan, the Hilltoppers had big help from their defense last week. What impressed you the most?
Well, when you look at our defense as a whole, we talked about this a little bit earlier on our own that, when people think of WKU Hilltopper football, they think of our offense. They think of how explosive we are off the snap. And with our QB and Austin Reed, he's pulling that every week. But our defense this year, I think, has seen considerable improvement just at every single snap, it seems like. Everybody on their defense, especially with this last game against HCU, it just seems like everybody was getting in on the action in terms of this. We never let HCU get away from us. We never even gave them a minute to think about what they could do next. Like, if their quarterback had even a second in the pocket, we were right there to jump on it and try to break that up. Coming up, WKU is looking to rebound against UTEP. Reporter Colin Craig will join us to talk Hilltopper football. Absolutely, I agree. UTEP has really struggled pretty much all season. They're getting outscored like crazy amount of numbers that they're getting outscored. When we look at UTEP, what's something we really need to focus on in trying to take down their defense?
You don't even have to stop the run. You just need to contain the run. They're going to try to do the exact same thing, Ryan, that they did against Liberty.
You look at this game, it's going to be clear who the better football team is. But just because you can see who the better football team is doesn't necessarily mean they're going to come out on top. This past spring semester, the Extra Point set out to tell the story of WKU volleyball head coach Travis Hudson. His story is one of inspiration, trust, and most importantly, gratitude. The story will air this upcoming Monday. Here's the trailer for Building the Culture, a Travis Hudson series by the Extra Point. These first 3 games, I really feel like, are games that we can use to build momentum, to get a couple of early wins under our belt. I don't think any of these opponents that we start off the season with are anybody that we should be afraid of necessarily. Obviously, you have to take every game seriously, but when you look at our first opponent, like Kentucky Wesleyan, they're a Division II team. They're not necessarily or shouldn't be on our level, but they did just come off beating a Louisville team in a preseason exhibition game. So there's something to be said about that, but I also just don't think that that's a face value game win. The big thing that we're going to see through Rodney, I think, is like you kind of alluded to, is his size, is his ability to really put the pressure on inside of the paint, both offensively and defensively. Like we said, he didn't average, a whole lot of points per game or rebounds per game last season, but I think we just give him some minutes, he's going to have a good game. You can't really describe it other than the word domination. When people think of WKU, we're a volleyball school.
Yeah.
People that want to, come and watch football, that's great. We do have a great football team, but all in all, we are a volleyball school, hands down, bar none. And when you look at how this season has been thus far for this team, we're on a 17-match win streak, and our last loss was to ranked Arkansas all the way back in September. And 13 of those last 17 matches that we've had have been 3-0 shutouts. You just don't see that kind of domination really anywhere inside of the realm of college volleyball. I've only got 4 words for this football game, and that is game of the year. Without a doubt, this game had everything you could possibly want when watching football at any level, really. You had 2 completely different teams with 2 completely opposing offenses, and somehow they both managed to make it work. It was a very high-scoring game, and it managed to come down to the last 30 seconds.
Yeah.
This is one of the closest championship points battles that the track has seen in all of its history. And when you look at the points battle, Jackson Boone got a big win last month at the racetrack in October for the Bass Tire 100, and he only holds a 4-point lead over Dylan Fetcho, who arguably has kind of dominated throughout the majority of this season. And it's kind of shocking because the only reason Dylan is actually behind now is because he had a mechanical issue at the last race, which, I don't know, it's just uncharacteristic of that team. And I think going forward, when we see this, Dylan's going to qualify really well. So Jackson's going to have to really bring his A game, especially since he's pulling a doubleheader. Jackson Boone, he's already won the championship once, so I think he's got a pretty good chance right now as it stands. Dylan being right there, it's going to be a really close fight all the way to the end for 100 miles tomorrow night. But the big ones, Dawson Sutton and Hunter Wright are both still right there in that championship fight.
3 drivers go into this weekend here at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway with a chance at a championship. Hear more about that and even more live from here at the Speedway next up on Extra Point.
With champions crowned and the checkered flag falling here at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway in 2023, racing will return here in the spring of 2024. For the Extra Point, I'm Ryan Murphy. The WKU Dance Company will also be premiering special student choreographed programs both tonight and tomorrow right here on campus at the Russell H. Miller Theater. And those performances will take place at 7:30 p.m. Reporting from Van Meter Hall for News Channel 12, I'm Ryan Murphy. Deuce Bailey has been a guy who all year long it seems like the Purples have been able to rely on, both for those deep ball passes that he's kind of been known for making and those big clutch plays, but also at the same time being able to run the ball and kind of get out of the pocket when he needs to. So that's just kind of been shocking.
What do you think about this game, Ryan?
Well, it's kind of surprising when we think about it because Greenwood and I know you're a Greenwood girl, so don't take this the wrong way. But I genuinely think of the big powerhouse teams that we see in Warren County, Greenwood's kind of on the lackluster end of that. They're kind of on the back foot when it comes to teams like South Warren, when it comes to teams like the Purples. I mean, those teams are just so much stronger, I think, in so many other areas compared to Greenwood. But when you look at Greenwood, it's something about them and beating undefeated teams is just something that's meant to be for them this year, I guess. Yeah, it's kind of a flex, really. I mean, nobody else can really say that. But a big part of that really comes on the back of, Telltale Long, right? I mean, Gus kind of talked about it a little bit there. Telltale Long is just an absolute animal on the rushing game.
All these groups are leading the charge into Fountain Square Park here in downtown Bowling Green. There's so many different groups and organizations that are being represented here tonight. You've got the sororities and the fraternities that have all created their floats for this event and for this homecoming weekend. But you also have student organizations, things like the agriculture department. You've got the International Club, which features so many different students from so many different countries, all represented and all who attend right here at Western Kentucky University. There's just so much going on, plenty of energy. Everybody's excited for this game tomorrow against New Mexico State.
No, but it's an interesting thing that you talk about where they're ranked.
Should be.
Yeah, right. Because it's interesting where you talk about where they're ranked at. Because Clinton County, I mentioned it being a tale of their schedule's not really telling what this matchup might entail in terms of competitiveness. Because when you look at Clinton County, obviously 1-3 on paper, that doesn't look that great. But they've played some pretty difficult opponents throughout the first part of their season. And on top of that, they have some really strong players. Especially look at Landry Moons, which I'm sure we'll talk about here in a minute.
Oh, absolutely.
But Logan County, especially, I think, is going to have the upper hand in this matchup whenever you look at it. Obviously, they have the better record at 2-1. They've played one less game, but they've also played really strong opponents in Glasgow, Muhlenberg County. Both of those games they've won. And then they also, just like you said, they lost to Edmonson County, but they only lost by 7. And Edmonton always has a really good basketball program. Yeah, Landry Moons looked a little bit frustrated with that one. I think she felt a little bit confident in her ability to make that shot happen.
But
still, like when you feel that momentum shift, Micah, that you're talking about, like it's very obvious whenever you're, present in the moment in the gymnasium and you're seeing the game unfold, and you can kind of feel that shifting from team to team. But for the Cougars to be able to take such where they were on this side of the ball and be able to spin it all the way around, and just like you said, now they have the lead going into the half.
Yeah.
I mean, it shows you the energy that this team is carrying and their ability to persevere under this amount of pressure.
Yeah. Harlan passes it over to Smith, and that's in.
Big time 3 there. Great shot again. And just like we talked about with the shot selection, Micah, that wasn't necessarily a terrible shot. She had a little bit of pressure, a little bit of a hand in the face going on there, but still she was able to knock it down. It seems like they're able to really get those shots more under pressure than they are in the open.
Here he goes. He's got the lead off the backstretch into turn 3. It's not going to be easy. Austin Cook looks 50, gets loose. Flag on the high side. The record in the back. Photo finish. I don't know who won.
Curley on the outside locks up the left front. He's charging on the outside even still, though, as they head off into turn 2. Curley on the outside. Now he's got the preferred line into 3. Takes the lead. Does the hometown kid of Tyler Curley. Gets the bumper from the 46, but he holds on to the lead. These guys are racing hard. 46 looks low. Gets into the back of the 4. He saves it into turn 5. 517 passes Denton, and Denton looks to the inside trying to fight back for second place, and Curley takes off with the lead down the hill. Man, I don't know if Brady has enough time to catch Curley, especially with the amount of pressure that Cook's put up. He's still holding on to it. What a defensive drive by Austin. Curley likes what he's seen in his mirror. 6 laps to go, and they're battling for second in the mirror. Oh, little contact there on exits. I just don't think Brady has what it takes to get past Austin quick enough to make a run for the leaders. They're leaning on each other. Brady moves him up the racetrack. Even still, it's not enough. Jaden right here in the mix as well. Through turns 1 and 2. Tyler Curley with the advantage by 3 car lengths down the back. He's gonna do it. It's not going to be enough for the 17. The 4 car takes it, the battle to Hickory with a fighting chance. Curley wins at Richmond.